So, first of all, excuse the sweaty, unkept look. I've been working all day in my full fireproof uniform, pants, long sleeve shirt, gloves, helmet with face shield, safety glasses. So, it's hot out there, y'all. It's really hot, especially when you're dressed like that. So, recently I have had an influx of viewers and subscribers. I'm trying to switch over to YouTube from other social media platforms because everything I share gets me banned elsewhere. And a YouTube auditor, First Amendment auditor, their channel is James Madison Audits. I'm going to link them down below. Go follow him. He does good work. He actually shared the video of my arrest and prefaced it with a call to the chief of police, Chris Grady, here in Harrison, Arkansas. So he had some really good questions for the chief. And the takeaway that I got from that was the chief says that my arrest was perfectly legal because I was cursing in public. Which I guess by law, your yard, your front porch here in Arkansas is considered public. He says, and I quote, "If I had said those words to an officer on a back road, there wouldn't have been a problem. But since I said it here in town, in my own yard, and there were other witnesses, including children, that constitutes a disorderly charge." There's a little bit of a problem with that because there wasn't anyone else around. As per the police report from Vandegrift, he hasn't been able to get any corroborating statements. I'm sure they will keep trying and try to find someone, and in this town they probably will find someone to write a statement and say they were bothered. But we actually spoke to all of our immediate neighbors, and they were pissed off that we got bothered, and they said that they had no issues with us on the 4th of July during the arrest. They didn't have a problem with it. They didn't understand why the cops showed up the next day trying to get statements from them. It actually bothered them to have the police show up trying to incriminate their neighbor. Along with that, we also, like I said, we FOIA'd. FOIA is Freedom of Information Act, which is a way to get public information. You send in a request, they have to reply within 3 days. If you don't already know that, it's a useful tool for citizens. So we sent in FOIA requests for the police report from the night of my arrest, and we got it back. In this report, Vandegrift says a number of things that are questionable and problematic, but a couple things stood out to me. First of all, he says that I tried to grab his non-lethal, his pepper spray. He had his official name for it. I don't remember. I don't have the report in front of me right now. But he claims that I attempted to grab his pepper spray, which is his justification for the force that he used and twisting my arm around and all that. If you go back and you watch the video of the arrest, about a minute 31, a minute 32 in, you can see him grab my left wrist, twist. After he's grabbed my left wrist and twisting, he says, "Stop grabbing my belt. Stop grabbing my belt." I never touched his belt. I never grabbed at him. I froze up and hunkered down trying to protect myself because I was having a PTSD episode. I've been in abusive relationships in the past, and when he grabbed onto me, I just panicked and wanted to protect myself. I never grabbed at him, ever. And if you watch the beginning of the arrest, you can actually see him grab me before he even says, "Put your hands behind your back." He already had his hands on me. So I didn't even have an order to comply to before he was already touching me. And adrenaline and PTSD kicked in. And like I said, I just hunkered down. Like, you can watch the video. I didn't fight him. I just tried to self-protect. So the other problem with the police report is that They gave me a disorderly. I wasn't a danger to anyone. You can see that. I never made a threat. I never made an advancement towards the officers. I never threatened them in any way. I was just rude and cursing. So he says, and I quote, okay, I may not be quoting directly because I don't have the report in front of me, but it's a close quote. He says, "I told her to watch her language or she would be arrested, to which she replied, 'Fuck you.' So I commenced to arresting her." Bro, he admitted in writing on the police report that he arrested me because I wouldn't shut up. I mean, are we in America, or have we morphed into North Korea and China and we don't have freedom of speech anymore? And now we're at a position where cops can just arrest you because they don't like what they say. Well, the Supreme Court has said otherwise. Multiple court cases have said otherwise. Other federal cases, big Supreme Court case said that our right to curse an officer, to flip off an officer, is protected by the First Amendment. So James Madison Audits actually called the chief of police, and the chief of police backed up this officer and said, like I said at the beginning of the video, if she had said this on a dirt road, she would have been within her rights, but since she said it in her front yard, it's disorderly. Y'all, am I the only one who thinks this doesn't make sense and this isn't right? For a little bit of history, we've been holding protests here since the week after George Floyd died. I live in Harrison, Arkansas, which is the home. Sorry, he lives a little bit outside of Harrison, Arkansas, but his son has a business here. His family has businesses here. Tom Robb, who is the Grand Wizard of the Ku Klux Klan. We have directly taken them on. We've gone to Zinc, where he lives, and had a protest there. We got his daughter-in-law removed as head of the Junior Auxiliary here in Harrison. Yeah, she was president of the Junior Auxiliary League here in Harrison. So we've really pissed off the town. We really have. We've pissed off pretty much everyone here. So I can't help but feel like this was a targeted attack on us. They've been waiting for some reason, something to happen to make us look crazy and look bad. And unfortunately, Mama always said my mouth was going to get me in trouble. And it did. It's really weird because I've always been the comply person. I've never stood up like that before. I've never ever done anything except bow to the police and comply and yes sir, yes sir, yes sir. I've kind of been a bootlicker. But this one night, it didn't make sense to me. It didn't make sense to me to be told to quiet down whenever it sounds like World War II outside. And they were allowed to make it sound like World War II until 11. So, in my opinion, I should have been able to play my music. There's no noise ordinance in Harrison, and on the 4th of July, loud fireworks are allowed till 11, so loud music should also be allowed until 11. It only makes sense. But, on top of that, when the officer showed up, there was no music playing. The first thing he says when he gets out of his car was, "I got called because of vulgarities being shouted over a loudspeaker, but I drove by and checked it out, and I didn't hear anything." At that time, the call should have been over. Period. He had no reason to be here, which is what pissed me off. As soon as I told him, "You have no reason to be here, leave," he got very agitated, which is what led to the whole encounter. So I've been rambling for almost 10 minutes. I'm sorry, I'm not a YouTuber. I don't know how to edit and do all that stuff yet. I will learn. I will try to make my content better and less rambling as we go on. But for now, you guys are just going to have to deal with me raw and unedited. I appreciate the new followers, the new subscribers. I really appreciate all of y'all that are calling the police department, because you guys are being a pain in their ass, and I really appreciate it because they don't like it. And I want to make them as uncomfortable as they've made me. I've okay, the stutter's coming back, so I'm going to end it here. Hope this helps.